So we should be able to start with any one. We started knowing the groups. This time let's start knowing the rows and the columns, and we can go from there. So if we know there are 5 rows of 2, well, we know that rows are equal to the groups. So I know I will have 5 groups. And I will do that again by laying out the start of my groups or my rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sometimes to visualize, students might need just an arrow or a line going this way, so they kind of solidify that even though we're building up and down, these are rows that are going to be going across. So we have 5 rows and 2 columns. Right now we only have 1 column, so we would need to add on more columns until we have that total amount. So here's my next column. Again, we're going to have 5 in that group. So we can see that 5 rows and 2 columns would look like this. The groups that I'm talking about would be 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. And this is going to help us when we get into multiplication too. To find the area, we would just simply count again and know that there are 10 square units here. The last scenario that we're going to talk about would be if you know the area, but you're not sure about the rows or the groups. So let's say this time the area is 12 square units. And in this scenario, students are going to be able to pick a lot of different ways to represent this. So I know that I need 12 square units, so I'm going to take those out right now. Here's my 10, more. So I know that I have to build a shape, a rectangle with these 12 square units. And I can do that any way I want. I could build them in a line where I would have 1 row and 12 columns. I could have 2 rows and 6 columns, so on and so forth. And as long as we have these numbers in the right spot, it doesn't really matter what the shape looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead and arrange these. And here is my rectangle that has an area of 12 square units. Now I'm going to count rows going this way. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And I have 1, 2, 3 columns. Now I also need to think about this in terms of groups. So if we separate the rows, those are going to be our groups. So students can see that we have 4 groups of, and we have 3 in each group, so that would be 4 groups of 3. And that's what we're doing when we have our tiles. We'll move on to representational later, but that should get us started. Thanks.